This is it. Hi, it's Mark. This is it refers to this particular talk, which is number 30. I began this 30 days ago, inspired by a presentation done in a conference by my friend Darren LaCroix, who encouraged, among other things, that we give a talk. Even in this COVID time, the pandemic, we're not getting opportunities to get up and speak on a stage the way we used to do a talk and record it every day for 30 days. His encouragement as well is to aim at 17 minutes or longer, to work your way up to an hour. So I've done some of various lengths over the last 30 days. And I did a talk recently about momentum. I'd like to talk today about momentum. I'd like to tell you a story, and I'd like to make a point. In my talk about momentum, what I was getting at, but not referring to directly, was this very process I've gone through of doing a talk a day for 30 days. Not 30 days over a 40-day period, but 30 consecutive days, every day, not missing a day. And some days that's been hard because it's, well, what do I talk about? But I'm rarely at a loss for a subject. But there's fitting it in. Well, what time of day will I do it? When will I have time to record this talk? How long should it be? What should it be about? What's the story I'm going to tell? And what's the point I'm going to make? And some people have correctly criticized me that it sounds like I'm winging it or I'm going on too long. And all I can say is, well, get over it. I like to tell stories, and I like to tell the long version of things sometimes rather than an edited down short version. Because I know how to do the edited down short version. I do it in writing all the time. In speaking, if you don't have the time, yes, you consolidate your story into a short vignette. But when you have the luxury of as much time as you want, and you're the speaker, you get to tell the story the way you want to tell it. I'll begin today by talking about this. It's a photo album. If I hold it right, it'll show up on the camera. And it's just buy it in the store. It's got a bunch of photographs in it and plastic things that you put photos in. And the story of this relates to my first marriage and my divorce and my children. If you're like me, when you get married and have children, and you take pictures of those children from the time they're infants, you have lots of photos. They're in boxes, they're on cameras. In the old-fashioned days, they were, film you took in to be processed, you got the prints, and you put them in albums or you mailed them to grandparents. And my family was no different. And the person who took care of all of that was my wife. I took a lot of the pictures, but the actual putting them someplace, keeping track of where they were, putting them in albums was my wife's job. And it was a job she took on, and she would often get multiple copies of things because she wanted something in daughter Carla's album and something in daughter Krista's album and something to send off to grandparents. So we were often buying reproductions of some of the shots on a given roll of film. And of course, these days, very few people print things off and they just save them on a computer screen or on a drive inside their camera. In any case, my marriage ended after 17 years. My children were 6 and 8 at the time. And one of the things I asked for and had difficulty getting was photographs of my children when they were young. Post-divorce, I can take my own pictures And I have pictures that I've taken of my children and pictures they've given me of them. But those early years from infant to age 6 and 8, I had nothing. I wanted something. I asked periodically and was given an answer that they would be forthcoming, but they never were. And this was an irritation to me. And it was something I wanted. Then one year, my children gave me a phenomenal Father's Day gift. This album that they prepared, along with their own notations, pictures of, not an exhaustive set of pictures, but a bunch of memory points that were very important to them and to me. And it's a treasure of mine. It sits in my living room and I look through it periodically and I happily show it off to friends. And when they see the pictures and they hear the story of how that came about, how that album came to be mine, you know, here it is. It's mine. Not from some photographs I took, not from boxes or drawers full of albums, but just some selected points from my children to me. And of all the things I have in terms of possessions, I mean, this is a very special one. I wouldn't want to be without it. And our relationships with people come and go. And they have ups and downs, hills and valleys. And some things are important to some people and they're not important to others. I chose this today because it's a precious story to tell for me, because it's about something that matters very much to me. My daughters matter very much to me, and so does this album of photographs. And the rest is just politics between ex-wives and ex-husbands. And we all have that kind of irritation with people that used to be in our lives. But my children and these memories are always going to be in my life. And best of all, they chose the photos. They wrote the captions and they gave it to me as a Father's Day. How does life get better than that? My point that goes with this story is that whether we're giving gifts or we're having a conversation, an important thing for us to learn and remember, and I don't remember it all the time, but maybe as I get a little older and I have experiences like that ring true for me, I'm reminded that I never know what will matter to someone. Now, the flip side of that, of course, you never know what will irritate someone either. You might say the wrong thing and they suddenly are very angry, or they're upset, or they're disappointed. You hurt their feelings, or you somehow said something to them that makes them see things in a negative way. Nobody wants to do that. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Doesn't matter whether they're a competitor or an adversary or a friend or a complete stranger in the parking lot at the grocery store. It doesn't matter. It's not our mission in life to spread crap around, to spread negativity around. It's to spread some joy around and some happiness, and to do acts of kindness for others is a good thing. We've all learned that at some point in our lives, whether we learned it in kindergarten or in our family homes or a book we read. We know that doing good for others is valuable because it makes them feel good and it makes us feel even better because we're able to do something. Well, there was a time when I was sad and disappointed about something, and my children probably could have said, "Mom, give Dad some of those pictures." And she probably would. And they could have done that, and that would have been a nice thing for me. But instead, they carefully chose a few from among their own photographs of their childhood. And they put together an album for me, this album. They gave it to me. Now, I don't know how they felt about it. I think they felt pretty good about that because they were able to give something that you couldn't buy in a store. You could not go out and spend a pile of money and get that value of their effort to put together that album and then to give it to me. So for the cost of an inexpensive album in the store and some photographs that they already had and the time to put it together, they gave me an invaluable gift that I treasure. And I think they treasure the memory of giving it to me. And I get a lot of pleasure out of telling that story to others. So what's my point for you? What's the takeaway message for you? When you want to make somebody happy or do something good for them, going to a store, whipping out a credit card, buying them a well-chosen gift is a very nice thing to do. I encourage you, keep the economy going, spend your money, buy gifts, buy nice things to give to people and be kind to people. But please, when you do that, the more special the person, the more special the occasion, or the longer the gap in communication. Remember that it's effort that's appreciated more than things. It's actions and gifts of service that matter more than the price tag on something. I love my daughters unconditionally, as I have from the moment they were born. I don't love them any more or any less because they gave me an album, or if they hadn't given me an album. Those things don't change. And every parent of a child knows that. They may annoy us from time to time, and we may annoy them, but that unconditional love is always there. But whether it's our children or our parents or our sibling, I don't have any of those, but I can imagine what it would be like, or the stranger across the street who needs their snow shoveled or needs help with an errand, or somebody who's ill and needs somebody to visit them or needs somebody to pick up something for them. It doesn't matter who, but it really matters how we do things. How do we make that effort for someone? We don't do it so they're going to praise us. We don't do it so they're going to get excited. We do it because we want to show them that we see them, we hear them, and we appreciate them. Just as I appreciate you for listening. I'm wrapping up now. I hope you have a great day whenever and wherever you're watching this. My name's Mark Kolke, and that's the end of recording number 30 days in a row. Yay! Bye-bye.